You are Locked On Cougs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Park Ranger, Locked On Cougs here, and we're going to talk about Colorado. Got to talk about Colorado. Listen, Houston plays Colorado to open a Big 12 play this week, and I feel very confident. It's the first time I believe Houston has opened as a favorite on FanDuel Sportsbook to start the week against a Big 12 opponent. This is good news. This is big time, and I look at Houston, Colorado as a chance for Houston to really keep the momentum going. However, try to watch Colorado versus Delaware. It was, finding pieces here, finding parts there. And I talked to Kevin Borba, host of Locked On Buffs, some. He'll be on this week at some point. I talked to a couple other people that try and get one more of them on at least this week to help me break this down because Colorado is confusing. They've got a 5-star, all-everything high school quarterback that graduated 18 months early from high school. Did miss his senior prom, missed his junior prom. And he probably won't play. Julian Lewis is the freshman I'm talking about. He's fine, but I don't think he plays. Kaiden Salter, the all-everything, dual threat quarterback from Liberty, highly coveted by some in the portal. He comes to Colorado, and I'm not sure he's a Big 12 quarterback. He certainly is hard to tackle. He certainly is elusive, and he throws it better than he gets credit for. Right? I think there are people that, for whatever prejudice reasons, sees a running quarterback, and they'll say, no, this guy can't do that. Not going to get into all that. What I'm going to say is I think he throws better than that guy that hater thinks he can, right? But I still don't think he can throw well enough to beat Houston. And I really think the guy who started the season at third string, who spent the last couple of years playing behind Shedeur Sanders, Ryan Staub, I think he looked the best of the three against Delaware. Look, the score is deceiving against Delaware in a way that's interesting because they scored right before half to go up 17-7. Before that, it had been 7-10, right? So it was 7-10, still like 10 seconds left in the half. They go up 17-7, and then their first possession of the second half, they throw a 71-yard bomb to go up 24-7. Delaware's a run the ball kind of team, not built to come back down a couple scores. It ends up being, I believe, 31-7, right? That looks fine. That 30 plus points, home under 10 looks great. But for the meat and potatoes of that game, it was 10-7. And for the meat and potatoes of that game, it was not, Julian Lewis or Kaiden Salter or an electric run-first, high-powered offensive machine. It was two competitive teams. If anything, I think Delaware looked like the tougher one. I think that was an interesting thing to watch. Now, Staub came in. It looked like, to me, body language changed. The guys I texted talking about it down on the Colorado side of things echoed that like people like the Staub kid a lot. And after the game, Deion said in the press conference, I believe it might have been Sunday. If that was after the game, though, he said, I saw what you guys saw when talking to reporters about quarterback play. And so I don't know what the deal is. I know that Deion Sanders came in talking about his Louis Vuitton luggage, and I would imagine if you paid for Louis Vuitton luggage, you'd want to use it. So if you pay a lot of money in the transfer portal, NIL budget to bring in a 5-star, to bring in a coveted transfer, you want to play one of them. And frankly, what it's worth, I think that at this game or week 5, it almost might make it easier because they would have to be declaring if Julian Lewis was redshirting or not. In week 3, that's a little bit fuzzier, right? I think redshirt's all going to be fuzzy in the next 18 months anyway, but certainly week 3 of this year it is, right? And so Houston, in some gamesmanship kind of away from Prime and Colorado, and credit to them, is going to have to prepare for all 3 quarterbacks. But ultimately, I think Staub stands out as the best one to run an offense. I think Kaiden Salter needs to be on the field. I think he runs a kind of offense that is hard, and frankly, same way that I mentioned the cheap defensive moves earlier, it's inexpensive for them to make you prepare for all these options by just having a short wildcat type of package or a short option type of package where Salter maybe does throw some, but is mostly running, right? I think that they have ways they can create problems that way. I also think, though, that like when the game was close and competitive and they could do it, Delaware was able to run the ball successfully in a way that I think Houston can replicate. Now we got to keep our hands out of car doors and we got to keep upright. We got to, not roll up on our ankles, knock on wood. But I do think that Houston can run the ball against these guys, watching Delaware do it on Saturday, right? I think running the ball well for Houston also opens up so much else. Play action stuff to Cozell, play action bombs to Boogie Johnson, all those things open up. And I do feel confident, and maybe I'll feel less confident going into Oregon State and Tech in the weeks to follow. I guess the bye week and then Oregon State and then Tech. I do feel confident, though, that Houston ultimately will do some more explosive stuff that they have the capability to do. I have some confidence they're going to do that against Colorado, right? There's an air of confidence around guys in the program, like, hey, you hadn't seen our best card yet, or hey, we're waiting to turn our hand over until the river hits. If you're going with the same poker kind of metaphor here, right? They're waiting to see what happens, or they're waiting to show you what's going to happen, I should say. And I am intrigued by that. I want to see it happen. I'm upset. I wanted to see it happen before. I was one pushing to score 50 on Stephen F. Austin because you can. But ultimately, that seems like where we're at on that. And so I'm going to bring on some people this week to talk about Colorado from their side of things, to kind of poke and prod and ask some questions. Also, obviously going to take the time to preview the start of Big 12 play. Again, the first Big 12 game being played in the United States this season is here. Now, Farmageddon obviously happened in Ireland, but this is America. And so we're playing Big 12 football here, and I want to talk about that some. I obviously also will have the Big 12 squad on Thursday and getting ready for the game kind of stuff going into Friday. Friday night game is going to be a little weird. Full disclosure, the post game, if we record a post game live, we'll probably record it from my laundry room based on who's babysitting and where they're going to go. Yeah, that could all be chaotic, but more on that this week as we get into things. Houston Cougars as they open up Big 12 play this week. 2-0 for the first time I believe I saw since 2018. That's a big deal, folks. Things are turning around here in Houston. The Coogs are flipping the switch. Locked On Coogs here, talk about it each and every day. Locked On Coogs is primarily Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for bringing us first listen each and every day. Hit subscribe, hit the links, we're live. Thumbs up, do all the good things, help channel out. If you want a second listen, Locked On Big 12 as all things the conference covered. Drake's a little down the conference right now. I think it's understandable why. So go check him out. Locked On Cougs, again, proud member of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Go Cougs.